Hey, I'm Martha Higdon with Quilting by Martha. I'm also a national educator with Handy Quilter, so I'm out traveling the world teaching basic quilting on the Longarm. So today I want to go through my thought process of how I quilted this Basket of Joy by Poppie Cotton. One of my customers pieced this quilt and brought it to me. She didn't want a lot of quilting. She kind of wanted it not real dense, but it had to have some quilting to put it all together. So kind of a medium of her quilting. So I have Pro Stitcher, which is computerized stitching. So I like to use my Pro Stitcher. I also like to use my rulers and free motion. So on this quilt, I used all three. So how I like to do is I'll load my quilt on the machine, on the frame, and then I start at the top and I work my way through the bottom. So at the top, I know you can't see it, but you can see it off here to the side. On this border, it was just a solid color. So I went into Pro Stitcher under Pro Stitcher Designs, Continuous Line Designs, and it's called Piano Key Swag. I created my area, multi-point, 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 and then I repeat and filled it and stretch and stretch. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have to do the extra step of modify, skew, and border skew to get it up in there. So then I quilt out the border first, and then in the two corners I put a star because this is one of the designs that does not have a corner block. So when you're doing corners and borders, make sure if you don't have a corner, you're going to have to figure out something else to put in the corner. I like this look, so I use it, and then I put a star or a block in the corners. So then I started off with that with the Pro Stitcher. Then I had some open area off here to the side that I can create this area and add a design in it. And this is included with Pro Stitcher. It's under My Creative Stitches, and it's called like the Nassau Feather. So I placed it in the large area that was open. You're going to see here that I have applique. So then normally for me, I like to go in the ditch, and sometimes I have to go inside the circle so that it lays flat. So the first thing I do is I go around the ditch, and then I echo around the outside. This time I echo twice, and then I add a little Susie Q just to go out and around, just to fill in that area. And then with this block here, I just kind of went in and out, and then again with the question mark, swirly Q. When I'm teaching quilting, they always ask, well, how do you go about quilting? So normally what I tell people, all quilts have at least three things. It usually has a border, a sashing, and a background fill. So those are the three you're going to be looking at: borders, sashing, and background fills. So I try not to do too many designs. I try to pick 3 or 4 designs at the most and stick with just those designs. So the curly Q's and the question marks I kind of stuck with throughout the quilt. And the thing with quilting, density has to be the same all the way across the quilt, or it will not lay flat. If I did micro quilting around this, I'd have to do a lot of dense quilting around the rest. So you want to keep the density of the quilting consistent. So what I did here on the sashing, here in the green, also here in the white, a little sashing there, is I just did little curls. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here so you can see it. So this is my sashing, and then I make my little marks. Sometimes I'll use the blue soluble or the blue air erasable, the purple disappearing. On this quilt here, I used, on the green, I used the Handy Quilter Iron Away pencil. And up here, I just kind of eyeballed it. I don't really like to mark on white quilts if I don't have to. So I kind of eyeballed that one. But I did mark the green because you're going to see that stitching more than you will in the white. So right here's what I done. I did my spacing. I'll move it a little bit closer here. And then I'm going to do the curls. So basically I want to fill the area, and I'm going to come in and back out. 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 So the main thing you want to learn that is if you've got the hook, you need to do the hook, or if you round it, you do the round off. But that's how you can do free motion and keep it equally spaced. Once the quilt's over, then you can just get rid of those markings. So this is a real nice, easy swirl, very basic. Can learn that pretty quickly and put it in. The thing is, you'll have to learn when you go to the corner to curl in and then come back down and curl back down when you're doing the corners on both sides. Okay. Then in the triangle white area, I did a continuous curve. I teach it in every one of my classes, and I tell all my students, you have to know the continuous curve. Once I learned that continuous curve, it was like an aha moment. I now can quilt a lot of things free motion. So this is the continuous curve. I teach it you start from a 4-patch. You got to learn how the system works before you can actually transport into the triangles. So you're going to start and stop at the corner on the top left corner. You're going to go needle down, needle up, bring the bobbin to the top, do your locking stitch. Then you're going to go 1, and then you're going to stop. You're going to trim those threads off because we're going to end up right back at that same spot. 1 and 2 and 3, and then you're going to do the figure 8. 4 and 5, 6 and 7, come down, up, and now we're doing the figure 8 up, back down, and then we're going to come over, up, and we always finish right where we start. So then you're going to do the needle up, needle down, tie off your threads, and cut there. This is called the continuous curve. So this can do in all the squares in the blocks, but it also can do in the triangles. So I actually did it in the triangles here. Now I have a row of triangles here. So I was able to figure out a path where I can go all the way up one and then come all the way back down. So what I did here, same thing in the corner, needle down, needle up, bring the bobbin to the top, do your locking stitch. And then you're going to do your continuous curve here to the corner and then continuous curve here. And then you're going to travel all the way up, and then on the way back, boom, 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 you're going to come back. And when I get to this spot, I just close in that continuous curve. So I really love using that continuous curve when I'm doing free motion quilting. Then in my larger triangles here, you can see that I have a larger triangle here. I did a little bit different. So I have a little marking here at the center of my triangle. And what I did here is I came in and up with the tulip, and then up through here and then out. And that's how I did all the triangles in a row. So I just kind of kept it as a continuous line as I went up just to fill that triangle. I find it easier to do free motion. Of course, I've been practicing for several years. At first, I was real intimidated with free motion because I have the computer. But once you get learning that free motion, it goes so much faster. If I had to create an area for each of those triangles and put a design in it, you just know that it's very time consuming. So I would encourage everyone to just to learn those few simple little things, the curl, the continuous curve, and to fill in your free motion designs. The last one I did here was this basket. Okay, again, this is called Basket of Joy, designed by Poppie Cotton. If you want to piece it and quilt it. But this has a background fill. So again, I did go around the outside to flatten down that applique. I did go in the big centers to keep it flat. And then I filled in with a filler around here. And I just simply did a meandering hoops. So basically, if this is my square, hope you can see that. And then there we go. I lost my screen for a minute. So basically what I did is I just did swirl, 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 and then try to come around and more of a diagonal, just filling around the block. Nothing real dense, but just enough a little swirl. So it's like a meandering with a loop, and then just going around just to fill in that area. And then at the very end, I don't normally do it. I normally will do my borders chunking down the side, but not always. On this one here, I did take the quilt off the frame and turned it, and then I did my two sides of my border key piano swags. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just all depends. I think it's fine. It'd be a little bit easier to turn the quilt so that I have my full border on there. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Quilting by Martha, Instagram, Quilting by Martha. Hope to see you at one of my classes around the world at a handy quilter dealer. Thank you and thanks for watching.